The village creeps into view, shrouded in fog that slithers like breath between the skeletal trees, their gnarled fingers reaching, grasping for whispers of a life long lost. Alstar Bay, a name I'd only heard in dark tales spun by the firelight on chilly nights. Tales of shadows that dance, of whispers that crawl like insects across your skin, of a past so violet carved itself into the very bones of the earth. I feel the weight of the air as I step onto the cobbled street, each stone a dark history echoing beneath my feet, vibrating with untold secrets. The houses lie in decay, their windows like hollow eyes staring into the abyss of night. Each creak and groan seems to speak, a language I can't understand yet feel in my marrow, a cold dread curling around my heart. Who would live here save for ghosts? Just one night, I whisper to myself, a mantra more than a thought, lifting the camera from my neck, rolling my shoulders back, steeling myself against the chill that crawls up my spine. The locals told me, with a shrug and a somber gaze, that nightfall is not when one should roam. But the thrill of the unknown pulls me. Night here, they said. Night always brings the night. They say a woman once lived here. Elara, they called her, a beauty, a witch, or perhaps both. They say she was marked by the devil himself, eyes that saw too much, hands that healed and cursed in equal measure. The villagers, in a fervor of fear and ignorance, turned against her, driving her into the depths of the forest that borders the village, her screams reverberating through the trees. They hanged her at the edge of the bay. An old man told me outside the tavern, clutching his drink like a lifeline. Near the water it was, as if the liquid itself had swallowed her essence. I noticed the water now, churning sluggishly against the rocks, moonlight skimming its surface, distorting reflections. I get closer, compelled to capture its darkness, the depth unseen beneath the glistening veil. Something below calls to me, pulls. Snap. The click of my camera breaks the stillness, the first of many, the light flashing like the heartbeat I can hear in my ears. I capture the remnants of the place, the abandoned wells, the overgrown gardens, and the crumbling gravestones that lean like old men against the weight of time. I can feel them watching me, the stones, the trees. It's as if they know me, understand that I am searching, questing. But each photo feels wrong. Something in the frames isn't right, distortions, shades where shadows do not belong, figures on the edges that flicker in and out of view, smirking, or is it grinning? I clutch my camera tighter, yet my fingers tremble. Is it camera malfunction? Or simply my mind? I'm not sure. This village, it bleeds into my thoughts now, as if it were a living thing, feeding on fragments of my sanity. A chill scuttles across my skin, prickly and insistent. Yes, listen. The whispers are growing, a symphony of voices entwined with the wind, beckoning me further into the maw of darkness. Elara. It's her name that blares like a siren song, luring me deeper into the weight of the village. Each step feels choreographed, strings pulling at me, invisible but so very real. I find myself drawn towards the old chapel, its spire jutting into the sky, a twisted finger pointing at the heavens or perhaps mocking them. The door creaks open at my touch, that should not be, the sound drowning in a low hum that buzzes through the air. The interior is shrouded in dust and despair, the light of my camera illuminating the rogue patterns of decay, casting grotesque shadows that writhe like tongues across the walls. Then I see it. The altar, splattered with dried remains of once bright colors, a smear against the stark white that mocks the sanctity it once held. A shattered mirror lies shattered at my feet, and in the fragments, I glimpse something, no, someone, moving just outside the light, a figure cloaked in the threads of night. I blink, trying to focus the lens. But it dissolves and reforms in a grotesque dance, shifting between mirth and malice, a seamless blend of flesh unnaturally warped. Elara, I whisper, though the name feels foreign on my tongue now, phantasmagoric. I'm too entranced to run, too afraid to confront, and just as I think I glimpse her face, something inside me, some tether to reality, snaps. The laughter crescendos, swirling about in a cacophony. I bring my camera up instinctively, fingers flexing for another shot. But the lens fogs over, blurring the line between existence and oblivion. Through the haze, instead of her face, I see shadows layering over shadows, twisting in the flickering light, converging into 1,000 faces. Each voice rises, blurring, warping the air around me. Her essence, every scream, every tear, every lust for vengeance, coalesces around me, and I gasp, air turning thick, choking. The camera's sound pierces the madness, snap after snap, freezing the images that now swirl in a tempest of horror. I stumble back, heart hammering, the weight of their yearning, their anger, their sorrow painted on the walls of my mind, a canvas for a horror I never asked to witness. I rush towards the door, but the shadows dance more voraciously now, encroaching like water rushing to fill a void as my steps echo in the empty chapel. "Leave me!" I shout, desperation gripping my throat, panic blending with the obscurity of the past hungering for release. But as I cross the threshold, I feel a tug, the embodiment of the imperfections in my memory, the unfinished story of the village itself brushing against me with fleeting fingers, holding me back. The whispers become a roar. The ground heaves beneath me, each step forward seems to bore deeper into the unseen world. Once again, those shadows twist and swell, bleeding into my reality, their faces so familiar now. I run, outside, back into the night, but that night is a deep abyss, the fog cocooning me perpetually. And then, I'm standing in the bay's embrace. The water laps greedily at my feet, sharp and cold. The images still flash in my mind, faces merging with fragments of broken glass, a kaleidoscope of screams drowning every thought. I raise my camera, and with desperate breaths, I capture one last image, my scream echoing back as I plunge into a void I cannot comprehend. The village holds its breath, as the echoes of Alara intertwine with every soul lost in Alstar Bay, a melody of darkness where the night never ends. And the camera rests a stone's throw away, silent now, filled with the snapshots of eternity.